Green Bay area public schools among several school districts, teachers unions, and parents who filed a lawsuit against the state legislature.
Now, they argue the state is failing to properly fund its public schools. This as state Democrats and Republicans go back and forth on efforts to use its $2.5 billion surplus. In a First Alert update, Drew Best shares the change plaintiffs hope to see and the Assembly Speaker's response.
Throughout Wisconsin, public school leaders will maintain the state's decision in 2009 to no longer adjust its educational funding to inflation has led to a structural failure financially. Many hoping this lawsuit will help garner the funds they desire.
The funding that the state is providing for schools is making it impossible for school districts to fully prepare those students.
Referenda are becoming more needed for school districts statewide, including Green Bay's, who've passed 3 in the last decade and still anticipate another in November to address future budget shortfalls. A statement on the lawsuit sent to district families and staff reads in part, quote, "Wisconsin can and should honor its promise of a truly free and uniform education, because when we invest in our schools, kids thrive, families stay, and communities grow stronger," end quote. One Green Bay teacher and parent also getting involved in the lawsuit.
These cuts don't just affect academics. They affect a child's sense of belonging and long-term independence and success. I believe that it is time for us to address the needs that exist in our public schools.
Assembly Majority Speaker Robin Vos also responding to the lawsuit, saying, quote, "This complaint is another meritless attempt by liberal activists to defund the state's highly successful school voucher program and interfere with legislature's authority to fund public schools. We will vigorously defend against this suit and are confident that the courts will soundly reject it," end quote. The defendants will only have a few weeks to officially respond to these claims. Reporting in Green Bay, Drew Best, Action 2 News.